having prodromal preterm labor. And that is when I started timing my contractions. Welcome back. If you are new here, click the subscribe button. Today I am doing my 35-week pregnancy update. Today I am 35 weeks in, 1 day pregnant, and a lot has happened this week. A lot of crazy stuff has happened this week, and I may be having preterm prodromal labor. So let's jump right into this. So I'm going to go into my apps like I do every single week. I'm going to go into Pregnancy Plus first. So I'm on day 246, and that is what baby looks like. He is 18.66 inches and 5.78 pounds. So insane. That is his actual size. The protective fat layers will make up about 15% of your baby's weight at birth. Your baby's gums have ridges that look a bit like teeth. Your baby's cheeks are developing fat. The cheek muscles are also developing, creating that lovely chubby appearance. So cool. So that is really on to that app. So I haven't really tracked my weight this week. I haven't really been doing that this pregnancy. And the reason for that is because it's been taking kind of a mental toll on me. So I'm just going to not track my weight anymore. So now on to baby center. So I have 34 days to go. Baby is the size of a honeydew melon. So crazy. And that is what baby looks like this week. So that is really all onto my apps. Nothing very interesting. So now onto my symptoms. A really exciting thing that happened this week is I got registered at the hospital. Now I feel like my body kind of like tricked my brain into thinking like, hey, now we're registered at the hospital, now we can have the baby. No, my body is telling me like, hey, you might go into preterm labor, which I have I have known all this time because of my prolapse that I could potentially go into preterm labor. I will go into more of why a little later. Another thing is my hands and my feet have been feeling super hot. Now, I don't know what it is. Usually my hands and feet are like my vent system, I guess. If my hands and my feet are hot, the rest of my body is hot. If my hands and my feet are cold, the rest of my body is cold or normal. And this week in particular, I've just been noticing that my hands, especially my hands, have been getting so hot to the point where I have to hold something very cold in my hands just to cool them down because it literally feels like they're on fire. I have no idea why. It's driving me insane, but my hands are like changing during this pregnancy. So I haven't been having so much swelling. Obviously I can notice swelling at night, but that is normal for me. And so I haven't really been like having tons of swelling or anything. So I don't know what this is. I'm pretty sure that it's just probably like increased blood flow and all of that type of fun stuff, especially during the third trimester. Your body is trying to pump so much. It's trying to work hard as hell. So now on to why I think I'm having prodromal preterm labor. Sunday, so today is Friday. On Sunday night at 10:30, I wasn't even doing anything like vigorously like during the day or anything. I wasn't even really doing anything at night. I was laying down in bed. Braden came in to go to sleep and I stayed on my phone like I normally do because I usually can't fall asleep when he falls asleep. So I was just on my phone and all of a sudden I started getting contractions. Now these were different than my Braxton Hicks because usually my Braxton Hicks only lasts like 20 seconds or so, and they are not as painful as my real contractions are. Obviously I've had a baby before. I know how my body reacts to contractions. So I started having contractions, and this has kind of been like an ongoing thing. They've never been timeable, which I think it's so funny. The day that this happened, I told Braden, I was like, they're not even timeable. So like, I know that I can't time them. I know that they're not like going to speed up or anything or cause anything. That night at 10:30, it was about 10 o'clock probably when I had my first contraction. And, you know, I'd been having these contractions on and off. And then about 10 minutes goes by and I have another contraction. Now this is weird because I have never had one where I have a contraction and then like boom, I have another one. It's usually, the way that I say that it's not timeable is usually I'll have one and a couple hours have another one and so on and so forth. And I've been drinking tons and tons of water because I am still sick, but I've been drinking tons and tons of water. I know that it's not dehydration based or anything like that. So after that second one happened, I was like, what's going on? So about, oh man, I want to say it was like 7 or so minutes later, I had another contraction, and that is when I started timing my contractions. I had consistent contractions 7 to 10 minutes apart for 2 hours. I was trying everything to get them to stop. I was getting up and walking around just to see if that would help because I was laying down when they would happen. I was drinking water. I was laying on my left side. I was doing everything that I could to stop these contractions. And I even took a bath and like that did nothing. So I timed my contractions and it actually kind of scared me when they started getting closer and closer and closer and longer. And I will put in a video clip right here of like the entire thing of how many contractions I had. Now, mind you, I did have 2 before I actually started timing them. Okay, so here are where I tracked all of my contractions last night. And this was the first one. This one was at about 10:30 or so. And I had literally 10 contractions. They were all between like 7 and 10 minutes apart. Obviously that one was like 5 minutes. But those were all of my contractions. They were very, very painful. This was the last one that I tracked. January 6th, so it was January 5th. And then what happened was I was laying on my left side and baby boy does not like my contractions at all. He, like, if I have a contraction and he is like completely 100% asleep, he will wake up and start kicking because he hates my contractions that much. So this entire time he was kicking me so much. Like, he just does not like my contractions, which I'm wondering if that's going to cause some issues when I'm actually in labor. So I don't know. But yeah, so that happened and I was laying on my left side and they kind of slowed down. I had another about 20 minutes from the last one and I was like, okay, it's slowing down, it's slowing down. And I finally dozed off. Now, by this time it was already 12:30 and I was exhausted. I don't usually stay up that late. Usually like midnight is my latest. And so I finally dozed off and I was like, okay, my contractions are over. It was about a half hour or so into me sleeping. And I had the most painful real contraction I've had forever. Like, it woke me up. It literally woke me up. And I was like, oh my God. And I told myself in that moment, I was like, if I have another contraction, we're going to the hospital. That entire night, I was kind of debating whether to go to the hospital or not. And I was just like, I don't want to wake Brayden up. Like, if it's going to be a false alarm, if it's just going to stop on the car ride, because that's my MO, I guess. When I was in labor with Victoria, I was actually in labor, but on the car ride, I'm not sure if it was just the positioning of me or what, but I didn't have a single contraction on the car ride to the hospital. So I was like, I don't want to get them both up. Like, I would have to get Victoria up too, drag her to the hospital with us, you know, just in case it was a false alarm. We didn't want to like disturb my in-laws and whatnot. And Brayden had work the next day. So I was like, you know, I'm just gonna try and stop these by myself. So we didn't go to the hospital. Yeah, I didn't have a single contraction after that very painful one that woke me up, but I was about to head to the hospital. Like, it was bad. Luckily they stopped, but ever since that day they haven't gotten consistent like that again. I've been trying to take it easy and like get off my feet as much as possible, you know. But since that day, I have had more real contractions that last about a minute long. So I want to say it was even last night. I had two that were like probably 15-20 minutes apart, and I was like, am I gonna have to start timing my contractions again? Eventually, like, they just went away again, but I'm pretty sure that I'm having prodromal labor. If you don't know what that is, it's like real contractions, but they don't lead to anything, they just stop. Anyway, next symptom. So the next day after I timed those contractions, I just felt off. And I don't know what it was. It like hit me like a freight train, honestly. So I had eaten breakfast that morning. I was starting to clean the house, and all of a sudden, this might be TMI, but I literally had to run to the bathroom and like I pooed, okay? We're just gonna leave it at that. But then that entire day I just felt off, and I don't know what it was. I can't pinpoint anything. I literally don't know what it was. I just felt so off that day, and that entire day I pretty much stayed in bed while Victoria was in her room supposed to be taking a nap. She kind of hasn't been doing that a lot lately, so. And then my anxiety also hit out of nowhere. There was like no trigger or anything that should have caused my anxiety, but I had to take a bath, and like it felt like I was going to pass out, and I was like, I better get out of this bath. So that is what has been happening. That's what happened the day after I had those contractions. So I think my body is just kind of gearing up for that. I've heard people say that before they go into labor, they just feel off. And so I'm hoping that that's what it was, because I still have no idea. Also, another thing with the anxiety is my heart wouldn't slow down. And I've had this pretty much the entire pregnancy, but I don't know what it was, but my heart just would not slow down. And so no matter what I did, I would like lay down, you know, I would do everything in my power just to get my heart rate to slow down, and it just wouldn't. So that's very frustrating. Another thing is I'm having extreme exhaustion, and I don't know what it was. I honestly am kind of wondering if those contractions kind of put me on my ass, essentially. I've been having extreme exhaustion, and this was about 2 days after I had the contractions. And I literally took 3 naps that entire day, which usually if I need a nap, I'll just take 1 nap when Victoria's napping. But for some reason, like, that just wasn't enough. And I just felt so exhausted. Like, it was extreme exhaustion to the point where it felt like I was in my first trimester again. Like, that whole fatigue, feeling like you just can't do anything kind of thing, and it just really sucks. So that's what I've been feeling, and it's kind of been like that for days now, so yay me. Another thing that I'm noticing, and I've been noticing this for a couple weeks now, but I just kind of thought that it was coincidence, I guess, but I never really chalked it up to pregnancy until this week. And I've been noticing that if I lay on the ground, like flat on the ground, sit like crisscross applesauce, if you will, anything like that, my feet fall asleep, and they fall asleep really fast. It's not like I have to sit there for 20 minutes or so. It's literally I sit there for 2 minutes, maybe not even, and they are dead asleep. So that's what's been happening to me. So that is why I'm not sitting on the ground for this pregnancy update this week. So I think I tweaked something in my lower back. The other day I was nesting, like I have been wanting to forever, and I've been nesting. I think I tweaked something in my back. I haven't been able to walk for days now. Like I'm literally walking with a limp because I can't move this entire side of my body. So I'm going to talk to my doctor about it, but I tweaked something in my back and it really, really hurts and it's driving me nuts. So yesterday we were gonna go to the grocery store to get some groceries, and I was like, this, like I can't even walk. I am not going to the grocery store. So I'm probably gonna go today, but today I'm actually taking it easy, so hopefully my back is a little bit better by tonight. Another thing is I've been irritable, so irritable. I don't know where it came from. All of a sudden one night I just snapped. Like honestly, I just snapped, and Brayden's breathing was driving me insane, and I'm like, just stop breathing. Because like, who needs to breathe, right? But like I was just so irritable. I was even getting on my own nerves. So excuse my language, but I've been so another thing is I'm leaking tons of milk this week. I've been leaking milk this entire like second trimester, third trimester. This week in particular, it has gotten 10 times worse, to the point where I am literally like checking my boobs every couple seconds because I feel like they're wet. If you've ever breastfed or anything like that, and you know when you just kind of leak, it's that type of feeling. And so I'm constantly like, am I leaking right now? I'm leaking tons and tons of milk this week. Another thing that happened this morning, so weird, I started having Charlie horses in my leg, the leg that I can't walk on. Yeah, and my body is just like, give up, woman, like give up. But I was just having a Charlie horse in my calf this morning, and oh my god, like I couldn't even, it was literally making my foot like this. I couldn't put it flat on the ground. It would not go away. It was like so painful. So I have no idea what to do for that. Obviously, like Charlie horses are totally normal during pregnancy, but like this sucks. So another thing is my belly button sort of kind of popped. If you guys have been following my pregnancy journey, you know that with Victoria's pregnancy, my belly button didn't pop. I have a very, very, very deep belly button, and it's not enough to pop. So, but yesterday, I'm not sure if it was the position that he was in, but it did pop. I did take some pictures of it, so I will insert that right here to let you know that I'm not lying. Yeah, my belly button sort of kind of popped for one day. So that's very interesting. But I am going to back up and show you guys my belly. Okay, so this is my belly with the jacket on. Not that you can really tell. And then with the jacket up. So that is what my belly looks like this week from the front, from the other side. So yeah, that is what my belly is looking like. I'm going to measure it for you. So I don't remember what we were at last week. Looks like we're at 48. It looks like exactly 48. So that's what it's looking like this week. But yeah, that is my pump. Crazy. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will talk to you in my next one. Bye guys. Please.